So you've got a short list of cities you want to move to? Maybe you saw one on a best places to live list, or your friends keep posting about the food scene, the weather, the vibe. And on paper, it looks incredible. But I've been digging into the actual financial data behind 8 of the most hyped cities in America right now, and what I found is genuinely unsettling. We're talking places where a huge chunk of residents are one missed paycheck away from a debt spiral they can't climb out of. You're not ready for what's next. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Number 1, San Francisco, California. Picture this. You land a job in San Francisco paying $95,000 a year, and for about 5 minutes, you feel like you've won. Then you start apartment hunting and find out the median one-bedroom runs north of $3,200 a month. That's $38,400 a year in rent before you've bought a single bag of groceries. And most people living there aren't pulling 6-figure tech salaries. Brookings found that over 20% of middle-class earners across major California metros can't cover basic necessities after rent. 1 in 5 people who look totally fine on paper are quietly drowning. But what about the people who are making good money? They're still carrying student debt, car payments, and credit card balances they've been managing for years. WalletHub's distress data shows California residents searching for debt consolidation and loan relief at rates that match cities in full financial crisis mode. So what actually happens is this. Month 18, your savings are gone, and by month 24, you're paying minimums on a card you swore you'd pay off. Number 2, Austin, Texas. Austin had the whole package, right? No state income tax, a job market that wouldn't quit, live music on every corner, breakfast tacos that genuinely slap, and a vibe that made every other city feel like it was trying too hard. People relocated from California, New York, Chicago, all of them convinced they'd finally cracked the affordability code. But what actually happened is that housing prices in Austin roughly doubled between 2019 and 2022. And property taxes, which Texas leans on instead of income tax, jumped so fast that longtime residents opened their mail to find bills that climbed thousands of dollars in a single year. Then the tech layoffs hit in 2023 and 2024, and suddenly that booming job market had a very different energy. Outside of tech and energy, Texas wages just don't keep up with boomtown prices, so teachers, nurses, and service workers ended up competing for housing priced for software engineers. Austin ranks 9th nationally for financial distress, and it got there by selling Texas affordability while quietly repricing itself like a California city. Number 3, Boise, Idaho. Nobody puts Boise on a financial danger list. It's clean, it's friendly, the mountains are right there, and for years it genuinely was one of the most affordable mid-sized cities in the country. That reputation is exactly what turned it into a trap. Median home prices went from around $250,000 in 2019 to over $500,000 at the peak of the pandemic migration boom. That's not a gradual climb. That's a city doubling its price tag while local wages crept up maybe 10 to 15%. So the people who moved there specifically to save money were buying into a market that had already eaten the affordability they came for. Bankrate actually ranked Idaho 5th in the country for retirees, which sounds great until you read why. Taxes and climate. Not wages. Not whether a working-age household can afford a mortgage without maxing out 2 credit cards to cover the gap. And now you've got original residents renting at prices that eat 40% of their income, while newcomers sit on mortgages worth 15 to 20% less than what they paid. Number 4, Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix keeps showing up on every fastest-growing city list. And sure, the sunshine is real, the taxes are low, and the job market has been on a tear. But nobody in the promotional materials mentions that summer utility bills run $400 to $600 a month, just to keep your house from turning into a literal oven. And a car isn't optional in Phoenix. It's a survival tool. The city sprawls so wide that you're driving everywhere, all the time. So you're stacking car payments, insurance, and gas on top of a mortgage that already jumped over 50% between 2020 and 2022. WalletHub ranks Phoenix 83rd in the country for residents using forbearance and deferred payments, which is just a polite way of saying a lot of people there are quietly begging their lenders for more time. The macro numbers look fine. low unemployment, new construction going up everywhere. But a household juggling all that debt is one medical bill away from the whole thing collapsing. Number 5, Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville's pitch is basically perfect. World-famous music scene, a restaurant industry that keeps winning awards, a growing healthcare and tech sector, and this authentic culture that makes you want to move there and open a coffee shop or a vintage clothing store or something. But the people who own the bars on Broadway are doing great, and the people serving drinks inside them are drowning. Nashville's median home price more than doubled in the decade leading up to 2023, and service industry wages didn't move anywhere close to that. So you've got bartenders and servers and venue staff, all working tip-dependent, gig-adjacent jobs with income that swings wildly by season, covering rent that eats 45% of their take-home pay. WalletHub tracks Google searches for debt and loans as a sign of financial stress in a city. And Nashville's hospitality workforce is exactly who's typing those searches at midnight. The Brookings data makes it worse. The communities that lived there before the boom are now carrying the heaviest debt loads relative to income, while the remote workers who drove prices up can actually absorb the cost. Number 6, Tampa, Florida. Tampa checks every box on the relocation fantasy list. Warm weather year-round, no state income tax, cheaper than Miami, jobs actually growing. Sounds like a dream, right? And then you get your homeowner's insurance quote and your whole spreadsheet falls apart. Florida's insurance market is in a genuine crisis, and Tampa sits right in the bullseye of it. Premiums have roughly tripled over the past 3 to 4 years, as insurance companies either drained their reserves, left the state entirely, or just went under. Some Tampa homeowners are paying $8,000 to $12,000 a year just for insurance on a totally average house. And that number doesn't show up in any cost of living calculator you'll find online. So you run the no state income tax math. Feel smart? Save maybe $4,000 to $6,000 a year, and then your insurance bill quietly absorbs all of it and then some. The catch wasn't hidden. You just fell in love with the weather before you called an insurance agent. Number 7, Denver, Colorado. Denver sold a very specific dream. Ski weekends, hiking trails out your back door, legal weed, and a housing market that looked cheap compared to the coasts. People who moved there in 2015 and 2016 actually got that deal. People who showed up in 2021 and 2022 paid over $600,000 for a median home and got something else entirely. Even after prices cooled, Denver's housing costs sit way above what most local salaries can actually support. And Brookings found that across 160 metros, at least 20% of middle-class households can't cover basic necessities after housing costs. Denver's number is climbing. But what makes Denver different is the lifestyle inflation trap. You didn't just buy a house, you bought into an identity. The ski pass, the roof rack, the REI membership, the whole thing. And WalletHub's trend data shows distress rising in Denver even while the job market looks fine from the outside. You stretched for the mortgage at 3%, and now you're staring at 7%, still paying off the skis. Number 8, Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas sits third on WalletHub's national ranking of cities with the most residents in financial distress. And once you understand how the city actually runs, that number makes complete sense. Every casino, every bar, every entertainment complex in that city runs on the same basic logic. Make spending feel easy, make it feel good, and make the cost of stopping feel impossible to calculate in real time. That's not an accident. That's the product. And when you live inside that economy year-round, it rewires how you think about money. WalletHub ranked Las Vegas first in the entire country for debt search interest. First, out of every city in America, Vegas residents are Googling debt help more than anyone else, which tracks perfectly with a city where putting it on the card and figuring it out later isn't just something tourists do on a Saturday night. It's basically the local financial philosophy. So before you sign anything, run the full math. Not the Instagram math, not the no state income tax math, the full number. Because these cities don't trap you loudly. They just make it very expensive to leave.